Hello. Ooh. Come on in. I apologize for me being... There I am. Okay. I'm going to wait for some people to come in. I shouldn't have started my live on Friday the 13th because I'm going to wait a few minutes. While I wait, I'm going to play some music and we will start shortly. I hope everyone is having a great day. I had the craziest thing that happened to me. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just here to introduce myself and talk a lot about what I have in store for this page and all of the things. Okay. Uh-oh. Let's see. I hope everyone is having a good day. It's going to be a very brief live. Wait. Hello. Hey, Sam. How are you? Just waiting for a few more people. Just so that if there are any questions before I start talking, then I can answer them in a timely manner. Sam, can you hear me? I don't want to start talking if no one can hear me, because I don't go live on here often. So, hey, just want to make sure you can hear me. Let's see. Okay, perfect. You can hear me. All right, so I'm going to go straight into it just because this is all so new and everything. Please share this live as well. Send to friends and anybody else who may be interested in knowing about my page and my why. So I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Brianna Smith, and I am a labor and delivery nurse. I've been a nurse for about 3 years now, and my passion is women's health. I am originally from South Carolina, and I started practicing nursing in North Carolina. So once I started my nursing career, I was unsure if women's health was for me. So I started out in cardiac nursing, and I didn't like that. And I tried different things. So I went from cardiac to OR, and then one day I was like, okay, I got to get it right. So I decided to try for a labor and delivery position. And once I did that, I knew I made the right decision, because ever since then, I was more optimistic about my career choice, and I was happier to go to work. And fast forward, I became a travel nurse this year. So I was able to see the world in a different, from a different perspective. I am now West Coast. And I noticed that although I love labor and delivery, and I love helping women get to that point of delivering their baby, whether it's C-section or vaginal or natural, however you want to, deliver your baby safely. It was something about that first connection between mom and baby, like whether that mom was having a baby for the first time, or if that mom had a baby several times before. It's something special about seeing the mom and seeing the baby for the first time. And I was like, wow, that gives me the instant gratification that I need as a labor nurse. But it bothered me when I felt like I wasn't able to give the help that was needed at the bedside once the baby was out. Because my job, once the baby is delivered, is to make sure at least an hour to 2 hours that the mom is stable enough to go to postpartum or mother-baby floor. So I didn't have much time to spend with mom and spend with baby. And the most important thing that the mom want to know after the baby is out, other than if the baby is breathing and doing well, is can my baby latch? For most moms who choose breastfeeding, it's like, can my baby latch? Are my breasts good enough? Is my baby okay? Like, are they getting enough? It was so many questions. And although that's not my primary, role to ensure everything about baby-friendly activities, bonding, breastfeeding, it bothered me because I only had an hour or 2 hours to help mom get situated as far as her bleeding is concerned, and then help her properly latch. So oftentimes I felt like it was rushed. So if you're my patient, you just delivered your baby, I made sure everything that I could do was successful. Now you have a whole nother process that you have to go through, because you went from pushing or getting cut to healing, recovering, and breastfeeding. And although most hospitals have a lactation consultant, and they have you may have a doula in the room or whatever, it's still overwhelming whether you've done it before or not. It's very overwhelming. The first question, one of the questions I asked you as a labor nurse before the baby comes out is, how are you feeding the baby? Are you going to breastfeed the baby or formula or both? And that's overwhelming, because if you've never done it before, you're just going to say what everyone else says, or what your mama said, or what your friends told you to say. So you're going to come in 9 times out of 10 unprepared. And when that baby's crying and you're looking around like, what do I do? And then your labor nurse may say, okay, it's time to get cleaned up so that we can go to postpartum. I feel like I didn't do in that scenario. I feel like I can't do but so much to save you and to help you. So that's why I decided to invest in getting my certificate as a certified breastfeeding counselor, because I just wanted to do more. I didn't like the whole leaving you hanging type thing. So I decided to invest my money in the education needed to learn more, only because as a traveler, labor and delivery nurse, I don't have the time to squeeze in the 1,000 hours that's required to become a lactation consultant. So I said, well, how can I help? How can I optimize, my talents in a way that can spread the awareness to all moms? What can I do? So that's why I chose to become a certified breastfeeding counselor. And also, I don't know if you guys are aware, but there's a shortage in formula. So this is a really great time to get the education that you need. This is a really good time to really weigh your options, because birthing is overwhelming. The whole birthing process, that's a whole nother beast in itself. And once you get to the point where you and your baby are fine, then what are you going to do? Because you have to take that baby back home with you. Unless you giving it up for adoption, you have to take that baby back home. And you don't want to get inside your head that, hey, you're not prepared, or having anything influence that postpartum depression just because you didn't, ask the questions that you need or invest in the help that you may need. Because if you haven't done it before, everybody has a different process on breastfeeding, and everybody has a different opinion. If you didn't breastfeed your baby, it's okay. Your baby's thriving, and that's your choice. And I'm not here to shame moms or parents for those who decide otherwise. I'm just here to give you options on the future, because the world is evolving in a way that we don't know, and sometimes in a way that's not best. But it sucks. I'm not a mom, but I would be upset knowing that if my baby is on has a specific formula and I'm not able to supply that because the world is having a shortage. So what are your options? I have a question. It says, what was that specific situation in your first hour moment that told you these moms need my help? Oh, so I'll give you a scenario. That's a really good question. Thank you, Zakaria. So it was one day we were rushing. I was in the hospital, not gonna say which hospital, and I had to get the moms and the baby and the father of the baby situated so that they could quickly go to the postpartum room. So what happens is, like, it was a vaginal delivery, and once I get the mom stable enough, she had an epidural and everything. The epidural catheter was out, and I was working on the bleeding, meaning like every 15 minutes, at least 4 times within that first hour, I'm rubbing on your belly, making sure your bleeding is okay. So I'm just making sure I'm documenting as a nurse. I'm just documenting everything. I'm checking your bleeding. I'm cleaning up. I'm getting you all situated. I'm letting you know, hey, okay, right now we got an hour. You have a room available. So I'm going to give you your pain medicine. And I'm telling her all these things. And as I'm going through each step on what I'm doing, I see tears in her eyes. And I'm like, what am I saying wrong? you got to go. You got to get out of here. You know, like, we got to go. We got a room available. You can get in a much more comfortable bed. And as her eyes is like watering up and the baby's crying, and I'm just kind of like oblivious to this point, because at this point I'm task oriented, and I'm like, okay, everything's fine, okay. And then she's like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then I had to stop, and I was like, okay, I see. Because in my mind, before that moment, I've done my part. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's breathing. The baby's out. Doctor satisfied. Parent satisfied. I mean, my job is technically done. The baby is out. There's no complications. I'm good. I just need to clean up so EVS can come and clean the room and we can get another patient in. So I immediately froze because I'm like, oh my God, like, she's struggling. I was assuming that the bigger picture was to get the baby out, and I was assuming that was it, but I was wrong. So I had to sit down. I mean, once I prioritized everything that was important first, I had to sit down with her, and as I sat beside her and I was just looking at the baby, and she wasn't latching properly. I mean, it was obvious to me, but I'm the professional. I'm not a mom. So I didn't have a mom instinct going, but, you know, just looking, empathizing woman to woman, I'm like, oh, you just got to sit the baby up. So all I did was put the pillow, you know, under the baby and prop the baby up a little bit better. And the baby latched, and she was immediately happy. It was like I can do this. And I'm like, yeah, girl, like, that's all you gotta do is just bring the baby closer. And she's like happy. It changed her whole mood in the process of getting the mom and, you know, her husband and baby to the other room. Was actually, it was smoother. It was better. Just taking the time out. And I'm not saying that labor nurses don't take the time out to help you latch. I'm just saying, in a real scenario, it's kind of challenging for us. If we work with you for hours, all day, we watched your baby. We turned you. We changed you. We got you an epidural. Whatever it was. That is, you know, the least. That's like at the bottom of the list of priorities as a labor nurse. Now, we help you initially, but what happens is, a lot of times once we get the baby on the breast, we gotta go. We gotta check you out. We gotta make sure you can walk. We gotta make sure your pain level is good. You know, we gotta make sure mom is comfortable so that we can get her stable enough. So that's our priority. And it's not like we intentionally ignore that, but a lot of times anyway, yeah, okay, everything, you know, this is Friday the 13th, but let me finish my story. So we as labor nurses, we're concerned about your bleeding, your pain, and any further complications that could happen. So a lot of times we don't. Oh my gosh, my video is messing me up. we don't have the flexibility to sit down in a real scenario, sit down and teach you everything about breastfeeding your baby and latching. I can give you a scoop right now in 5 minutes. That's all it takes. But if you are a mom, a first-time mom at that, you've never breastfed before, you need more than 5 minutes. I can say, okay, all you have to do is position the baby, and then you're like, okay. Or I could so much as position the baby onto your breast and the baby's sucking. But what happens when I turn around and you decide that your cell phone is on the other side of the bed and you do this and then the baby loses the latch and the baby starts crying and you feel like a failure and you're like, I want that bottle now. And then I'm like, what happened? You know? So that's why I invested in trying to learn more so that I can do more and help more. I'm missing questions. I'm missing the comments. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm talking. I'm not really, I don't go live a lot. So it's very, where is the comments? The thought of breastfeeding was so scary. I know, Sam, it was. Okay, Samantha said that she read every book and blog on breastfeeding and still wasn't prepared. So, okay. Yeah. So I hope that answered your question on my why, because I see it all the time. And I do have to introduce a very special guest. I mentioned it in my stories before, and I hope y'all ready, okay? This is a very, very, very special guest. 1 second. Everyone, meet Ruby. Ruby is going to be a very special guest on this page as your favorite breastfeeding counselor. Ruby will be my baby. Ruby will be mine because I don't have my own, and that's okay. That's my business. But Ruby will help me explain things. Ruby will help you be prepared for your next delivery and next postpartum experience. Ruby will help me show you the different positions and relate to you on y'all are crazy. Y'all killing me in these comments, but I had to get me a doll. That's the type of teacher that I am. I have to make it so realistic, and I decided to get me Ruby, and I love her. And she loves me back. Now, this isn't the average, 7 pound baby. But this is my baby. I may get Ruby a sister or brother, but for now, it's just Ruby. And we're going to have fun with this. This is a safe space. Even if your kid is walking and talking and all of the things, this is a real safe space for moms because it is hard out here, y'all. It's hard out here, and I see it all the time. So I want this to be an empowering space to let you know that you're doing a good job. There's no blueprint to parenthood. There's no blueprint to breastfeeding. Although we have sources, we have videos, we have baby-friendly hospitals, but it's still, you have your own individual walk with it. Some women I talk to all the time in the comments, they're like, I'm good, I just need more sleep, or I'm good, or it's so many things that could happen. Even if you're formula feeding your baby, it's a stress. If your baby poop look different, you're like, let me call my pediatrician. And honestly, it's such a business now. By the time you go to the doctor, they're going to give you 5 minutes and send you back home. So you're going to feel like you're alone. And this is the space for you to not feel like you're alone. As your certified breastfeeding counselor. And because I have labor and delivery background, I'm able to help you identify what's normal. And while I'm helping moms breastfeed, I realize that your labor experience really impacts your first few moments with bonding with your baby. If you had a very traumatic experience where you had to get that C-section, or your baby almost died, or you almost died, it really mentally and psychologically it affects you. So you're already on edge taking care of a baby and holding the baby the first time. I see moms and dads do this all the time. It's like, oh, turn the head. You know, I'm here and Ruby is here to make you feel like this is your place where you can say what you need to say and be heard. And I can hear you and I can guide you. I'm not here to make a decision for you because at the end of the day, I'm not responsible for your kids. However, I will be more than happy to point you in the right direction because I'm so passionate about moms and I'm so passionate about breastfeeding as well. And I want this to be a very, very, very special space for me to be myself. I can be, you know, from talking about serious things with breastfeeding or just making it entertaining because I know without knowing that it is very challenging, but it's how you view that challenge because that child is going to grow in that phase that you're in. It won't last forever. So you'll go from the phase of, I don't know how to hold my baby before I, panic and, oh, I got this. I'm holding the baby like this. Or, all right, my baby's walking now. You know what I mean? These are the stages that you can't go back to. So let's move forward together, Let me read it. I was wondering that if the C-section and vaginal latching techniques different. Well, I was going to save that for another live, but I can talk about it quickly here. With vaginal delivery, it's easier because you may just have an epidural or a local where they just inject the local anesthetic in your vaginal perineum area if you need repair. So the less medicine you have, the more alert you are. But it just really depends because if you go under, if you have a spinal epidural or spinal block, meaning like they use more medication in a different space in your spine, you're a lot more numb, or depending on the surgery, some moms after a C-section, they feel great. They're like, okay, I can do this. But it just depends. Like, it just really depends because if you have a C-section and if you in a lot of pain, the last thing you want to hear is, and you're trying to hold a baby, then you're trying to turn. It's frustrating. So it's always good to kind of like have somebody like myself to walk you through that. I can't predict how your surgery is going to go, but I can help you get there. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of questions goes unanswered when a mom comes in a space and thinking, okay, I just want to know if my baby's okay. Now the baby's out, the baby's okay. You're in too much pain to want to latch. I've seen women where in the beginning they're like, I don't want no formula. Nope. I don't want no formula. But when the C-section happens and the baby ain't latching good and you're too tired and you're in so much pain, you're like, give me a bottle. So I'm here to help you walk you through that process so you'll know what it looks like, and then so you won't beat yourself up because it is rough out here. And I have experience with my nieces and nephews where one of my sisters, she was using a particular formula, but it broke out the baby's face. And then you got to go through that transition. So I'm just creating this space for moms so it could be a safe space. The more you know, you could help someone. Even if your baby is not breastfeeding, you can help somebody, literally, just by sharing knowledge. Knowledge is powerful. So that's why the space is created, just so it can be a non-judgmental zone. Because a lot of times when you're in the hospital, you're so overwhelmed. You're thinking about work. You're thinking about who's going to keep my kids and A, B, C, and D. And there's no perfect scenario. So by the time you come in the space of, I got to make decisions and I got to sign consents, things happen, you go home, and then that's when the postpartum blues start. So why not have a space now? I have another comment. It says, after my C-section, I was very numb and on so many meds. You were scared to hold the baby. Right. A lot of people don't talk about that. But I've noticed that, and I still notice that they are afraid to hold the baby. A lot of times the baby, look at Ruby. Listen, Ruby is prepared. Okay, y'all got to break Ruby in. She's shy right now. But a lot of times when the mom is holding the baby this way, and sometimes the baby just like to play with y'all, and the baby will stay stuck in one position, and you hear, and it scares you because it's like as a nurse, I might just turn the baby's head, and as a new mom, you're like, like, hold on, I'm gonna break my baby neck. So I'm here to help you with all of that. So Ruby is very flexible, and she is prepared to be my help. And it says so Carrie said they gave me my baby a bottle after my C-section. You didn't. Oh wow. Sometimes it just depends on what's going on. Every scenario is different. Some cases, I do recommend the bottle. If your baby's blood sugar is low and the baby needs to eat, if the baby, I said that incorrectly, if the baby has a low blood sugar and showing signs of hypoglycemia, I would recommend, if you're not interested in exclusively breastfeeding at that time, I would recommend a bottle. Can you still breastfeed? Absolutely. It's your choice. But it may be certain circumstances that may, prompt me to say, hey, so you're sleepy, the baby's hungry, what are your options? It depends on your nurse. Some nurses are just like, I don't want to deal with it. Let's shake this formula up, and we don't have to shake it up because it's already pre-mixed, but let's just go ahead and get this bottle, because you have to, it all comes down to knowing more. When you don't know more, you just go with it. So that's probably what happened. They didn't try to help you pump, then that's unfortunate for you, but you have options. Sometimes certain circumstances gives you limited options, but you even have more options once you go home with your baby. So I don't want to make this live too long. I think I've been on for like 30 minutes or so. I just want the world to know that you have options, and there's help available out there. Even if it's not me, even if it's your hospital you choose, even if it's your OBGYN you choose, there are options for you and your family. And even if your birth plan fails, you're feeding your baby, whether it's breastfeeding or formula, it can be successful if you just dig a little deeper, know a little more, come a little bit more prepared, ask the right questions, and look up your girl, okay? So, I don't see many more questions. I'm gonna give y'all a minute to type anymore. Even if there are questions after watching the replay, I apologize for starting late. It's Friday the 13th, and I had an emergency, so I had to handle what I could handle. This is a safe space. Once again, this is your favorite certified breastfeeding counselor, also known as Nurse Bree. I'll be sharing content. I'll make you laugh. I'll make you want to hold your baby even tighter. I'll inform you. I'll encourage you. I'll empower you. I'll inspire you. So I'm excited, you guys. I'm excited. And last thing, I made this space because I know that when I have kids, I know how important the love that I'm giving out here now is the love that I would want to receive when I'm pregnant and when I'm carrying a baby and when I want to breastfeed and all the things that y'all are going through or have gone through. I want that love to be returned to me. So it's very important that, we work together and we make this space as safe as possible. So I'm going to say goodbye, and Ruby is going to say goodbye as well, and we will be keeping in touch. So wait, hold on. Every time I'm at the end. Okay, it says, yes, empowerment. Wish I had this 10 years ago. Absolutely. But we'll stay in contact, and I will keep you guys posted as far as the services that are coming soon that will be available. So that way it won't just be a general space regarding me talking and y'all listening. So y'all have a happy Friday the 13th.